Hey, how you going? Hope you're doing okay on this day. It's taken me a little bit longer to get this to you. I've kind of had a few goes at it, and it just didn't feel right. But it's right now. It's something is coming from here as I present this today. Just before I start, of course, if you're watching this, I hope you will subscribe. I hope you'll like it and press the like button, and I hope you'll share it with your friends. I hope this is helpful. Don't ruin tomorrow, let it go. That's the topic of today. This season of kind of inactivity where everything's shut down, a season where it just reminds me of Mount Pinatubo. I remember when Mount Pinatubo erupted, it affected the whole world. Actually, in terms of climate, in terms of changes, the El Nino effect, and things like that. But what it did here in Pampanga, where I am, it buried everything in the ash that came out. Everything stopped here for months. It was dark. It was scary. The ground was rattling, so they tell me. I wasn't here then. I've been here about 4 years now. Everything was buried in soil. And in this season, it's a man-made season, actually, this economic chaos and this panic and this fear. It seems as though it's man-made. It's not an act of God, it's an act of laboratories in certain parts of the world. I won't say where, but I'm sure you've heard on the news, that have created a virus. The great thing is that in this season, I'm relaxed, I'm okay, I don't like it, I'm experiencing pain. However, I know God is using this for our lives, as the scriptures say in Romans chapter 8. There's nothing we can do except wait it out and hope and look to the future. I felt prompted to talk to you about 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 35 to 38 today, and it's about the resurrection body. It's about it's a famous passage of scripture, and it's usually read at somebody's funeral. And in this time, it's good to be reminded about that this is a season of death. It's like the psalmist said in Psalm 23, he said, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, and there's this shadow of death. I mean, most people won't die from it, but it's like a shadow. Oh, shit, I could die. My brother, who was studying medicine before he became a doctor in theology, likened it to like this. He said, when he was doing, operating on the bodies preparing for his medicine, he thought he had every disease that he heard about. And when he went to see his GP, the GP laughed at him because he said, Pete, we all thought that when we were doing it. And I guess it's a bit like that. I could die, I could this, I could that. And this fear, this shadow of fear, this valley with the shadow of fear has encompassed the earth. So that's a good thing to remember, that there is resurrection, there is life after death. Jesus has been there. But it's interesting about the seed. The seed falls into the ground, and it has to die before it gives the life that's in it. The seed is an incredible thing. And the actual interesting thing about a seed is it's a different body than it went in as. It's not, you don't see a seed come up as a seed. You see a tree come up, or you see fruit come up, or you see vegetables come up. It's a different body that God gives it, as the scriptures say. And I want you to think about this, that maybe many of the things that through this season and other seasons have been buried in your life and mine. I think sometimes we have to learn to let things go and not hold on to them. That's why I called it Don't Ruin Tomorrow, Let It Go. The seeds produce what's destined for tomorrow. I think sometimes I've done this, maybe you've done it, maybe you haven't. I sometimes want to dig up the seeds and think, oh shit, there it is. And it's like we want to go back to the past, or we want to try and discover, how we can recreate the past. But the seed will grow up into something unique and something different for you. Don't dig them up to see if they're okay. Let it die and see what the future holds for you. Resurrection power transformed Jesus. 500 people saw him. So I don't think all of them were delusional. I don't think any of them were. And history records it. Sometimes we need that kind of resurrection power to transform broken relationships, things that didn't happen, businesses, other parts of our life that are important to us, health. And these seasons can allow us to do that. Let it go. Don't keep digging things up. Don't get things from the past. You know, I've got some broken relationship with my kids that I've mentioned before. I'm trusting one day God will cause it to come to life again. But it'll never be the same as it was. It's going to be different. Hopefully, much better. Don't ruin tomorrow. Let it go and move on with your life in this season. Wait it out, but there is hope and there are great things just ahead. God bless you. Take care. Bye.